as well. So you can see here my office hours, contact information. Prefer for you to contact me using the Canvas inbox. And I try to respond quickly during office hours, but typically I'm generally able to respond within 48 hours, but just want you to have that as an expectation. So in this course, we have supervised activities in higher education or in the field directly related to higher education. Could be anything from a post-secondary coordinating board, legislative body that's related to post-secondary education, some professional higher education association, including others. During that practicum, you'll be expected to demonstrate developed and improved competencies appropriate to the professional setting. This course should be completed in the last semester of the college coursework and can be taken with up to 2 other classes. All right. So you have 2 options, and we'll talk about this when we meet with you, but just want to give you an idea so you can be thinking. So there's 2 options for the course. You can do a project or shadowing research experience. So in this one is typically if you are working in higher ed or have some project that you can do related to higher ed. You'd have to turn in a practical context where you sort of describe what you want to do. At the end of the course, you'll turn in your hours. You'll track how many hours and you'll do that throughout the course of the semester, but you'll turn in a document that shows your clock hours, the time that you spent on the project. You'll do an experiential learning paper, and you'll also do check-ins every 2 weeks. And if that option doesn't really work with you based on, maybe you're not working in higher ed, you can also learn about a role or position to which you might aspire to be in one day. You can also do this even if you work in higher education. So if you know that like maybe your next job you're trying to get to, you can do that for option 2. So in this one, again, there's a practical context document. You do an investigative paper about that role. You do virtual speakers reports. So you'll watch some videos related to people in the field or of higher education, write about them. There's again, write-up involving an interview with a selected professional in the area that you're trying to get into, maybe someone who has the job that you want. And then you'll do a final experience summary assessment document. Again, we use APA, double space your papers. So basically, for the papers, if they are personal sections, you can use your first person pronouns, but if not, you're going to use typical APA writing. Okay, so again, information about your writing, and a lot of this is similar to what we've done throughout the courses. So you should be familiar with APA and citations and references. So that's pretty much what my expectations are going to be. So you should be good to go there. So, all right. And don't use kind of filler language like where you put the journal and the title of the article. Just say the author, the date, explain such and such. All right. Again, typically we're going to be using scholarly professional material. There may be some situations where the other materials required, but generally speaking, we want you using academic sources. For those papers, you'd have a running head. All right, and for option 1 on the practical context, this is the basic format. So name, when you started the program, what your current position is, your organization, cell phone number, preferred email address, your practicum mentor's name. So this is not me. This is someone that you're working with at your institution who's supervising you and mentoring you along the way, what their position is. And let's see. All right, so the Practicum Mentors organization, and department where you're going to be doing the work, All right, and project mentor's telephone number and email, or practical mentor's email and phone number, the purpose, what you're trying to do, the roles and responsibilities that you'll play in this experience, and what expected outcomes do you have. All right, so what are you trying to accomplish as a result of doing the work? Okay, so like, if you were saying, hey, we're gonna work with this program to help, and I'm going to do a project focused on retention and student success, and then that would be the purpose, and the outcomes might be that we want to see if we can drive or increase retention by X for certain population, right? So it doesn't have to be that specific, but something along those lines. And here's kind of a template that you can cut and paste for that. All right, you can see the due date here. For those of you doing option 2, so yours will look a little different because again, you're not going to be doing that sort of project. So you'll have these questions that you'll need to answer. All right. So again, like who specifically identified the future professional positions that you're interested in pursuing? All right. Is it you or maybe someone recommended it to you? And why are you interested in these positions? What skills do you possess that make you a good future candidate for those jobs? What's your present understanding of the roles and responsibilities for that type of job? And any other information that might be of assistance here. Okay, and there's the due date. So those of you doing option 1, you have to do a minimum of 25 clock hours. Typically, if you're spending over the course of a 16-week semester, if you're spending an hour and a half, 2 hours a week on this, you'll get there. Okay, and again, and if you are working and this is part of your job, it doesn't have to be additional hours. It could be hours that you're spending on the project at your job. Okay, so it's not something you have to work on outside of your work if your employer sanctions the work that you do. And here's an example: different roles and responsibilities, analyzing student performance, recommending changes, planning, and the number of hours you spent. Okay, so it doesn't have to be completely complicated. Meetings that you attended, how long those were. Okay, for those of you doing option 1, there's an experiential learning paper. Okay, so the sections of it. So again, we recommend you keep a daily or weekly log of your activities so you can kind of come back to them later. Sometimes it can be hard to remember everything you did or what you thought about. So you will have the check-ins, but this could be helpful for you. An introduction, and you had to end it with a purpose statement. All right. The example here is the purpose of this paper to describe the involvement in collaborative leadership in student affairs at a major public university in the state of Texas. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but it needs to be a clear purpose statement. Okay, so concrete experience. So again, we're using Kolb's model here. So you're kind of describing your work and connect this model of experiential learning. So you'll kind of describe it and connect it to what you did. Okay. All right. Reflective observation. So here, what's the purpose? Why is it important? Who's it important to? How does it matter to the department or the institution that you work with? What's the function of it? How critical is it? Things like that. So, abstract conceptualization. Okay, so this is where you get theory and you're connecting it. So, what did you learn and what theories help guide your understanding of what you learned during the experience? So, when we think back to higher ed leadership and maybe some of the other courses where you learn different theories, and integrate those into this section. Okay, so all right, so if again, there's an example here. So if you're looking at conflict and dealing with conflict, here's one model, Thomas Kilman model. It has 5 components. So you could use that. You don't have to, but find some theories that relate to what you're doing. Okay. So active experimentation. All right. So here you're demonstrating how the information applies maybe in other contexts. All right. So again, you can look at this, what was the impact of the work you did? What would you do differently? Why would you do things differently? Um, how might it apply in other situations? So maybe you did something in student success. How might it apply in student programs, or how might it apply in financial aid or some other context, or in admissions? Um, just think about that. And then you have a conclusion, right, where you bring everything together, re-emphasize the main points of your paper. Okay. Typically, we're just looking at a paragraph or two here. All right. So hard to say exactly how long, but a general rule of thumb here is 10 to 20 pages. Okay, double spaced. All right. So that just kind of gives you a range of what to expect here. And for option 1, you also have check-ins every 2 weeks. There's going to be 8 of those. So first one will be Sunday, September 3rd, and you do those in Canvas. It says you can ask questions, so I can give you feedback along the way, provide a brief overview of your activities, relate to something that you're learning, doing, wanting to do. If you're having a challenge, with completing the practicum, you know, this isn't the place to say, "Hey, I just hate this class," right? But if you're just like, "Hey, there's this thing, and I'm trying to work on this, or I'm having trouble working with a certain, uh, trying to figure out how do I work effectively with my mentor, how do I get them to support what I'm doing." Those types of things, you can put there because that allows me to be specific about how we can help you. Okay. All right. And I'll give you feedback throughout the course about, if there's specific things I'd like you to add to your check-ins. All right. Those of you who are doing professional or option 2, so doing some research related to a position. All right. So includes the disclosure of major roles and professional responsibilities of that professional position that you're researching. Typically, how many employees that person would supervise, how much would they make in salary, other information related to that job. Okay. So, all right. So here you have the virtual speakers report. So I'll have some videos that are posted for you, and you'll be able to kind of write about what you learned about them. Okay. So, all right. And if you're in option 1, you just want to watch them, you're more than welcome to watch them, but you wouldn't have to write a report on those. All right. And again, for option 2, there's a write-up of the interview with someone that you select. All right. And this could be in person or virtually or over the phone. Person would have a position similar to one you're interested in. And then you would do a write-up of the main points of the interview and things that you will basically helps you to set you up so for your final experience summary assessment, but you want to be able to really describe the content of the interview in general. It's probably good to relate it to things you already learned. Okay, so final experience summary assessment. So again, for option 2, addressing specific aspects that the instructors or me, I will identify in greater length inside of Canvas. So you'll look there for more information. So again, no required textbook for this class. Obviously, there's these things that you can find this website. It says required, but you can just go to the link for that. And you can go online and find information about APA format. So there's not really a book you have to buy for this. All right. So again, here you're identifying the purpose and outcomes of your practicum experience, developing skills related to roles and responsibilities in higher education, and explain your experiences, right? Connect them, the theory, whenever you can, to your practical experience, right? So here you can see for option one, you have your practicum context, your clock hours, experiential learning paper, and the check-ins, okay, and due dates for those. All right, so for option two, you have the assignment summary and the investigative paper, speakers reports, interview, and the summary assessment, okay. Normal, so here's our grading scale. Basically, you need to get whatever grade. Typically in grad school, you're wanting to get an A or a B, and so it kind of tells you the range of points you need for each, right? So since it's an online class, make sure you're involved regularly, logging in, participating, working on your check-ins if you're in option one, but communicating with me regularly on your progress for option two. Okay. Information here on holidays, grade-related dates, and commencement. So again, there's a 20-point deduction for each day as assignment's late. So just do your best, turn in assignments on time. If there's any extenuating circumstances, you need to just really let me know what's going on, because I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. Okay, so just keep me in the loop on that. Information here on APA and writing. Again, this is your work. I want to know your thoughts. More on that later. If you have accessibility issues, work with the accessibility office, and they will connect you so that we can get you the resources that you need. All right. Be civil in any discussions that we have in the practicum, particularly in the check-ins. Again, integrity, do your own work, it's your own thoughts. Do your best work when it comes to academic excellence. All right, so I would also just kind of tell you, so when it comes to artificial intelligence, I know we live in a world where it exists. I really want to know your writing. I don't want to see writing that was written by a language model. So just keep that in mind. Using an AI model for learning is one thing, but using it, in this context, again, I want to see your writing. So if there are particular instances where you think that it might be helpful for you, please discuss that with me. But unless I give you parameters on how AI might be used in this course, just kind of take it as a rule of thumb not to use it on assignments unless directed to. All right, so let's look at the Canvas course. You can see how it's laid out. All right, so you can see the syllabus here. This video will be there. You'll go through and acknowledge the syllabus. You'll do quick surveys and let me know more about you so I can help you. Information here about using the databases in Google Scholar. Here's where you'll select your practicum options. So you'll kind of let me know which one you want to select, and then indicate your availability for your. We'll want to discuss with you. We'll post a few times based on your all's availability, and we'll kind of chat with you, make sure you know which option you want to choose for this assignment, as well as give you a little update on the comprehensive exam. And you'll also kind of let me know here, those of you who need to take it this semester. Most of you will, but just make sure you let me know for sure that you need to take it. Again, here are the assignments for option one. I kind of separated those out from option two. Practicum context, the check-ins, the experiential learning paper, and the clock hours. And then those of you doing option two, the context. Option two, you have the investigative paper, video discussion, interview, and the final experience summary assessment. Okay, so that's basically how this is laid out. Once I know which option you're doing, I'll set the assignments up so that you're only going to, typically in your to-do list, you'll see the assignments for the option that you are participating in. So you won't see all of them in your to-do list. So I look forward to learning with you this semester, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.